Episode 5, New Lines, Old Wars, a region rewired. When the missiles stopped, something else began. Not peace, not relief, but realignment. The 10-day confrontation between Israel, Iran, and the United States did more than damage infrastructure. It rewired the Middle East. Old alliances hardened. New ones emerged. And across capitals from Riyadh to Moscow, the question wasn't who won. It was how to reposition before the next round. Israel, from surrounded to assertive. Israel came out of the strike with a clear message. It will not wait. It will not ask. It will act. For years, Israel operated under a siege mentality, surrounded by threats, relying on deterrence. But now, it had flipped the script. It took out Iran's nuclear capacity, at least temporarily. It showed Gulf states that it could do what they couldn't or wouldn't. It forced the world to acknowledge its military and intelligence superiority. But assertiveness comes with a cost. Some now see Israel not just as a defender, but as an instigator. And the more dominant it becomes, the more regional isolation may follow. Iran, weakened but more dangerous in the shadows. Iran suffered real losses. Its nuclear infrastructure was hit. Its deterrence was damaged. Its pride publicly bruised. But Iran is no stranger to asymmetry. It doesn't need to match power for power. Instead, it will rebuild in secret. Strengthen proxy forces in Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, and Yemen. Lash out not through missiles, but through militias, hackers, and shipping disruptions. Iran may look quiet now, but beneath the silence lies a strategy of endurance, deception, and slow revenge. The UC back in control or back in the crosshairs. For the United States, this was a return to the driver's seat. It led strikes. It de-escalated conflict. It reminded the world that no power can reshape the Middle East without Washington. But the cost? U.S. bases are now high-value targets. American forces are stretched from Ukraine to the Pacific, and now back to the Gulf. The question of staying power looms. How long can the U.S. play referee before becoming the fight itself? Gulf states, silent, calculating, watching. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, each watch the events unfold with intense interest. They fear Iran's rise. They respect Israel's reach. And they depend on America's protection. But none of them want a direct war. So they pivot. Increase quiet security cooperation with Israel. Keep economic ties open with China. Hedge bets and stay flexible. This is the new Gulf strategy. Don't pick a side too early. Pick the winning side later. Russia and China, cautious opportunists. Russia, locked in conflict with Ukraine, couldn't intervene, but watched carefully. It maintains deep ties with Iran and Syria, but also values its quiet understanding with Israel. China, more invested economically, faces its own challenge. It imports oil through the Strait of Hormuz. It signed a 25-year strategic deal with Iran. And it doesn't want American missiles flying over its energy lifelines. So they both play the long game, condemn the strikes, offer mediation, avoid commitments, but keep options open. A rewired region. Who's up, who's down? In a region shaped by perception and power, how did this war shift the map, not by geography but by influence? Israel, once surrounded and reactive, now assertive, dominant, but increasingly isolated. Iran was rising, bold and provocative, now wounded, vengeful, unpredictable. The United States, from distracted and distant to decisive and in control, yet dangerously overstretched. The Gulf states, they were neutral, divided, today quietly aligning with Israel and Washington, but still playing both sides. Russia and China, yesterday's strategic lifeline for Iran. Today, wary, watching, seeking influence, but avoiding entanglement. In this new balance, no one walks away untouched. Some gain power, others lose certainty, and everyone is recalculating. The illusion of balance. On the surface, it looks like equilibrium. But this is not peace. It's not even Cold War. It's managed volatility, a state where everyone is armed, watching, and one misstep from chaos. The Middle East has always lived with fire. Now it's learning to live with controlled burns, where war never fully ends, but is kept just below the flashpoint. And in that kind of world, strategy matters more than strength. In the next episode, we'll zoom out even further. What does this conflict mean for the global order? From oil prices to proxy wars, from Washington to Beijing, what ripple effects are already shaking the foundations? Join us in Episode 6. Beyond the Region, Global Consequences of a 10-Day War. Episode 6. Beyond the Region, Global Consequences of a 10-Day War. The bombs may have fallen in the Middle East, but the shockwaves, they reached much farther. From New York to Beijing, from oil terminals to financial markets, a 10-day war rewrote the global narrative. Part 1. The oil shock that didn't happen. Everyone expected oil to spike. Iran is a gatekeeper of the Strait of Hormuz. 20% of the world's oil flows through that narrow waterway. But prices barely moved. Why? Because markets didn't see a prolonged war. Because the U.S. Navy stayed in control. Because Saudi Arabia didn't panic. But make no mistake, this calm was artificial. The next time may not be so contained. Part 2. Markets react not to war, but to risk. Wall Street didn't fall because of missiles. It fell because of uncertainty. Traders hate unpredictability. And this war reminded them that geopolitics still moves the market. Gold rose. The dollar dipped. Bitcoin surged briefly. Algorithms caught fire. Safe havens became crowded. And a simple question emerged. If a short war moves everything, what happens when the next one lasts longer? Part 3. Proxy conflicts and power plays. While the world watched Israel and Iran, other players made moves. North Korea test-fired another missile. China ramped up naval patrols near Taiwan. Russia opened back-channel talks with Iran and Syria. This wasn't just about bombs. It was about signal intelligence. Who's aligned with whom? Who will step in, and who's ready to act when the U.S. looks away. Part 4. The end of rules-based order. For decades, the West talked about rules, international law, sovereignty, multilateral institutions. But June 2025 sent a different message. If you're strong enough, you act first and justify later. Israel acted without a UN resolution. The US followed with no formal coalition. China and Russia saw it clearly. The era of rules is fading. Welcome to the era of realpolitik 2.0. Final thought. What the world learned in 10 days. The war didn't last long, but its message will echo for years. Military readiness beats negotiation tables. Economic exposure is a weapon, and in the global order, no one is truly neutral anymore. We're not just witnessing regional realignments. We're watching the reshaping of global strategy. And the next flashpoint? It won't give you 10 days to prepare. In the next episode of After the Silence, we'll explore how war narratives are written and who gets to tell them.